Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Court of Swords. Feels like we were just here.
Hello.
I feel like no time has
does.
passed at all whatsoever. What's up? What do you got, Adam? How you been? How's the trip home? I haven't seen you in 24. No, I saw you last 20. We've seen too much of each other, Adam. We need.
Yeah, there was Thursday and Friday and then Saturday morning and then in between then and now I did a Far Verona, like a design stream this morning. So I've been thinking about roleplay stuff pretty much nonstop for the last 4 days. So that's what I've been up to. I did also go see the Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, you
last night.
finally went and saw that. How was that?
Go see it. Yeah, it was awesome. It
Yeah?
was so good. It was weird, and it was like claustrophobic and uncomfortable, and it was really good. It was definitely worth the wait. I have never seen such a good cursing of a person, and not just like swearing at them, but like a long drawn out. I swear it was like a full minute, maybe two, of Willem Dafoe cursing Robert Pattinson from the deepest depths of hell. It was very epic. It was very cool. It's 100% a good movie to go see. Go and watch it. They're both amazing in it. Everything about it was really cool. I'll probably see it in the theater at least one more time before it's done.
Nice.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Well, cool. We're caught up with Adam. One down.
Yeah,
Three to
right.
go.
That's literally it since like yesterday. So
Yeah. Yeah. Max still wearing eyeliner over there. I'm liking the look. Looking pretty fierce.
I don't know where the makeup wipes are, so it's whatever.
It's
You make my
looking good.
eyes pop.
Yeah. What have you been up to? How you been?
I've been good. That's it. No.
All right, Zeke, how's the move going? What's going on over there?
I've been good.
No, it's funny you said that. I forgot I had the eyeliner on because of, Halloween party I was at to last night. And every time I wake up, inevitably because, we're drinking and stuff like that, and I wake up and I'm already kind of haggard, but I have eyeliner on, so I just look fucking horrible. Like, I look like somebody who has not slept for weeks. And just, it was bad.
It's fine.
But yeah, hung out with some friendos here in Austin. Halloween party, that was fun. What the hell else? How many days has it been since the last? Hasn't been that many.
Five?
Last Tuesday,
days?
about 5, yeah.
Five.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday,
What
Friday.
do we do?
Are all the
4 full days.
are Halloween parties all this weekend since Halloween's on Friday, or are there Halloween? No,
I think
it's on Thursday.
both.
Halloween's on Thursday. November 1st is Friday,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I think a lot of people do it beforehand, so that way they can, do their own plans for Halloween or whatever, or just because everybody does it on Halloween, maybe try to get rid of, traffic and stuff and whatever.
I don't think people are
running
going to
around.
party on Thursday, right? Like they're going to wait a year,
they're
and then
taking-
next year it's going to be crazy. Next year, Friday.
I don't know what they're doing is they're taking the PAX approach, and Halloween is actually a full 6 days long now because they kept selling out of regular Halloween tickets. So so now Halloween is just the entire last week of October.
Yeah.
That's true.
Outer Worlds. I played that with everybody else.
Yeah, I'm starting tomorrow. I'm really on top of things here. I'm starting it tomorrow. How we know how Zeke thinks about it because he shouted from the rooftops and the mountaintops and all the tops of all the things.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
What were your thoughts on
Give me
it?
them
Max?
clicks. Give me them interactions, baby. Woo!
I don't think Zeke's tweet is wrong. For those of you guys that don't know, it's just kind of like, it's just kind of a decent game. It's more Fallout, whatever. I will disagree that it's more Fallout. I think they've interjected some more aspects from things like Mass Effect into it, as far as like party members that actually interject into conversation. It feels more like a Mass Effect party system than like old Fallout followers, or some kind of combination therein. And I also fucking love the fact that they put a little bit of Firefly spice into the mix. There's references all over the fucking place.
Of all
if you are a fan
you're the
of
first
Firefly and
person to
stuff.
reference that. Of all the people that have played it, no one said like Firefly,
Yeah.
but I saw your
I don't
tweet.
think anyone else was really looking for it, and then I started looking, and maybe I'm looking a little too hard, but there's certain things where I'm like, oh, you definitely lifted that straight from Fire. First of all, the ship design, 100%. The
Firefly?
structure of it and the cargo area, 100% from Firefly. The kitchen in the ship, 100% from Firefly. And there's different little, like literally one of the ammo types is called Firefly, the company or whatever, and the logo looks the exact fucking same.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they ripped on that. It makes
It's fun.
sense.
But the way I've been telling people is like Fallout with Mass Effect elements and a little bit of like kind of Bioshocky stuff going on there. A little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this from different games that you like, and it's fun and it looks good
Yeah.
visually. It's not broken fucking Fallout. I'm pretty sure they're not. It would be weird if they're in that same.
That's
engine.
kind of all they need to
That's what they
print on
grabbed
that
with them.
box. Fallout ... without the bugs. That's all. That's kind of what they need to put there.
And that's, I think, kind of what Zeke was getting at. It's
Yeah.
like, it's nothing like radically amazing, but it is a good game. It's solid. And the voice acting and stuff is good. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I played that.
I've been playing
Continue.
it too, man. Like, honestly.
Shout
I was
more
playing
from
it
your soapbox.
I was playing it shortly before like this cast started. I'm like, I don't know, 20 hours into it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
You're playing it
I'm enjoying
offline though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's become your
Well,
offline.
that was the
If I
other
ever
thing.
picked it back up again, I'd resume my murder hobo style in the very easiest setting.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I've
it's
been
fun.
using it to murder hobo too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean
Tearing
to.
through the town.
I get
Yeah,
it.
I killed an entire like town and village. Didn't mean to. It just kind of happened. And I'm like, well, now we're committed to it because if I just
You know,
go
it's funny
soft
'cause
on
that's
this
exactly-
approach-
Sometimes your
That's
finger
exactly
just slips,
what-
you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what Joseph Stalin said. He was like, oops, I didn't mean to, but here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
I
and
don't
everyone's dead.
have a previous save that I can go back to.
Yeah.
So
Man, when I play those games, my finger is on the F5 button. Like it never leaves that general area. Like when I'm playing Divinity 2 right now, before every actual decision, let me go ahead and just save it here. Oh, am I going to buy this like 5 gold ale? Let me go ahead and just save it here. Maybe I don't want to buy that 5 gold. I'll scum the fuck out of that shit.
I'll save a bunch too, just because I want to fuck somebody up and see what happens after I kill them.
Yeah.
So does that mean
Or
you're not
just-
going to play it on the hardest difficulty?
Oh, and out? No, I don't think I'm. I've grown out of that in recent years. I played Call of Duty on like normal, and I was fine. I don't give a
There's
shit anymore.
There's something so irritating about watching someone play an RPG like that on the hardest possible difficulty, but then they're also just save scumming all the time, and it's like, why? Why are you doing both? Like,
Yeah.
either just don't save scum so much, or just play it on hard and accept the consequences. Like,
Yeah.
But that's the deal with the hardest difficulty on this Supernova. Supernova difficulty, you can only save at your ship. And you can only fast travel to your ship. And I'm playing it offline like that because it is fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, is it
would
too
be
easy?
it'd be a shitty boring stream because
Oh,
it's run to this place because you can't fast travel anywhere. You have to run everywhere except for your ship. So every time you do something, you get an achievement or you get like a quest done or whatever. You can't just keep adventuring. You have to go save because, you know, in case you die and you'll lose all of that progress. So you go all the way back to your ship, run all the way back out to where the next quest is, and like that kind of shit. So that part kind of gets tedious, but like once you kind of get the hang of it, like it took me a long time to get through the first few missions, but once you get the hang of it, it definitely does start like rewarding you for like leveling up and, you know, learning the tactics and shit like that. But to start, man, boy, it was frustrating.
yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dan, what difficulty are you playing it on? I know you've been playing it.
I started on the bullshit difficulty, aka Supernova, and I got
Okay.
so tired of my AI teammates suiciding themselves. And then when they die permanently. You lose all their quests, all their dialogues everywhere. Then I'd have to reload and do all the stuff that I did perfectly, but they just kept dying.
that
So I got so
classic-
sick of that.
Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's classic Fallout AI behavior where you give them a rocket launcher and they're like, should I point this at my feet? And you're like, no, don't do it. They're like, I'm going to just shoot myself in the feet with this. Boom. And then they blow up. And you're like, why? I just gave that to you. What are you doing? So
I have
stupid.
10% health. Let me go charging into the enemies right now.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sure that
Wait,
gets
do
me
I put
by.
this
Yeah.
knife in my eye? Oh, that hurts. I'm dead. Like, okay, come on, guys.
Kind of like some
I
NPCs in
honestly just
Dungeons
put them
and
on
Dragons.
passive. Put them on passive until they gain some levels, and then maybe I'll take them off. But for now, they're just along for the ride. I hope they're getting experience as I kill everything.
I knocked
Yeah.
it down, and I'm having way more fun now. It's since I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about them, and I like being able to save when I want and travel
very
when
nice.
I want. Because sometimes I can control myself. If I don't want to save, I won't save. If I don't want to fast travel, I won't fast travel.
Can you only
But
go
Outer
down
Worlds
in
for me-
difficulty? Or,
Yeah, I can only go down. I can't go back up.
Okay, all right, sorry.
At least to Supernova.
Gotcha.
But for me, Outer Worlds is 2 games. One game is a very well-written story game where it has good story, good characters, very lively, like realistic sounding characters. And then there's the part that's the gameplay. The gameplay itself is kind of dull and doesn't really have any character of its own. It feels like it's kind of like Fallout, kind of like BioShock, but just really kind of generic. And the loot itself is the same in the starting zone as in the highest level zones. The only thing that changes is the level of the stuff you loot. You loot the same kind of consumables, the same kind of stuff over and over again. So exploring and looting isn't very exciting. Every time you see a loot chest, it's kind of like, So it's like the combo of the two makes for a good game, but not a great one, because they really got to work on the gameplay to make it have more of a character of its own and make it feel like it's its own thing. Right now, it just feels kind of generic and kind of not.
I feel like that about Control, right? Where Control just kind of felt like the gameplay stuff was just pulled over from Alan Wake. So do you think, does it feel kind of like if you've played like Fallout or any of those games before, it's not going to do anything to surprise you?
Like for me, I enjoy Fallout 76's combat more than this game because it has more of an identity. It feels like Fallout, and even though Fallout's not perfect and it's weird, but I like that it has its own character. This kind of just feels like generic shooter most of the time, with occasional you can use your companion abilities once in a while, like Mass Effect, but not really. It doesn't really like hook you. That's what a lot of people get bored of, is the gameplay. The gameplay is not super exciting. People are quitting. It's because of that. Otherwise, the story and characters are wonderful.
Man, now I'm so curious how I'm going to feel about it tomorrow. Because
I know, right? Yeah, I'm starting it tomorrow too, and I know I'm gonna like that. For me, I'm the player that Dan is describing, where if the story is good but the gameplay is boring, I will miss out on the story I'll quit the game, because I'll be like, I can't force myself to do another pointless gunfight just to find out what this NPC has to say.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Also, man, Max really has a lot. He's not here right now, but he has a lot of eyeliner on. Like it's overpowering how much eyeliner he has. It's staggering the amount of eyeliner. Well, cool. I mean, that's. I don't want to say too much more about it because I feel like everyone's got their opinions out there, and The other thing that's hard to do, I think, as a streamer and just as someone that watches a lot of Twitch and watches a lot of games streamed, it's hard to form an opinion that is truly and 100% your own when playing a game after watching so many streams of it. And so I try to get very small amounts of opinion from everyone before I play a game. Otherwise, I'll just take their opinion and be like, well, this game is bad because of X, or this game's bad because of Y.
That's a thing, right? That's how people's brains work. Like the idea of forming a completely unique opinion uninformed by anything else is like impossible.
It's very hard.
Like for example, like Max is having a different experience with the game purely based on the fact that he's more familiar with Firefly than like most people might be. And so it's totally tailoring his experience of the game. So in the same way, the kinds of like books you've read and comics and TV shows you're familiar with, as you come into a game, even if nobody has given you their opinion, even if nobody else has played it, you're going to come in and be like, oh, it's like the things I know, or it's not like them. And that makes it good or bad in that way.
Yeah. So I feel there definitely is some stuff going on there that's Firefly though, because even just the vicar you get, like he's like a dark kind of vicar, which is like Book in Firefly. You have Kaylee, which is Pavarti. She's kind of like sheltered, innocent, knows things about mechanics and stuff, and then asks you if she can join. You know, they end up becoming your first two if you accept him. I almost killed the shit out of him too, Vicar.
Well, I mean, that kind of thing can be fun. That kind of thing can be fun with chat too, because chat will get attached to certain characters, or they'll know in advance and be like, "Oh, this character is really good. You should get them." And you're like, "What if instead Uh-oh, chat, what am I doing? Oh no, blam! Oh, your favorite NPC's dead. I'm gonna have to go get a new friend. Oh well."
That's the
like
most
that
fun.
That kind of thing. I know, I find that really fun. I read an article about Outer Worlds and saying that it's the most fun with like a co-pilot, which for us, like that's chat, right? Like having somebody along to like participate in it with. Because when I was reading that article, it was about like play it with a friend, like on the couch with you, and you can kind of make decisions together. It's like, oh, that's what streaming is like. It's just that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that part of it and just seeing what people think of the characters. And
yeah, that might be a fun way to play for sure. We'll switch topics here real quick. Which Max and Dan, I think maybe you. I don't think Zeke or Adam have any interest in it. You guys have played the Call of Duty single player, right?
I haven't played the single player. Played multiplayer.
Dan, I know you ran into some issues and didn't play it, or did you play it yet?
I'm waiting for them to patch it because it keeps freezing every so often, just like
Yeah,
hangs. For like
I got
for a
that as
second.
well. It would freeze, and then there was like slight desync in the cutscenes.
Yeah, the sound would desync. But I got to play like an hour or two of it. It was really fun what I did play.
Did you get to the night vision area?
No, I stopped right after the crazy super lady and who was killing all the guys with me in the Middle East.
Oh, okay. Man, there's a night vision area in that game that you're like basically going into a town, into like a London suburb. It's not super spoilery. I don't know. If you care about the single player and you plan on playing, I guess stop listening for a sec. So you like clear these 3 floors, right? And Zeke, I'm going to repeat this on Wednesday, so I apologize. But you clear these 3 floors. Each floor you go up, one guy stays behind to like do a full search, and the other guys move forward. So you start with 4, then you have 3, then you have 2, then you're the last person. So like on floor 3, you go up and you breach into a room, and there's a woman who turns around and like walks over to like a shelf and grabs a gun and like pulls it out to shoot you, and you take the shot and you kill her. This is all done. There's no like, the game doesn't pause. It's all just like super fluid. You make these judgment calls and you move forward. So I see this. The woman turns around, gets a gun, gets like a shot off on me before I realize, oh, this person got a gun. And then I move forward. I go to the next floor, open up a door. There's a guy in the right who's hiding with a gun. I shoot him in the head. Then it goes over. There's another woman, and she turns her back, goes into a crib. I pop her in the back of the head. She turns around and has a baby in her arm. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. It is the
When
time.
I
I've
saw
never
your-
had this type of fucking impact before. Or at least
the
not in a
baby
long
arm?
time.
your tweet about when I saw your tweet about that, all I could think about is the episode of Simpsons where Marge becomes a cop and she's in the shooting
Yeah,
gallery,
dude.
and the bad guys come up and she shoots the bad guys, and then afterwards she shoots all of them perfectly, and afterwards Chief Wiggum is like, "You missed the baby, you missed the blind guy."
Yeah.
I just like. It's
It
all I
was-
could think about.
man.
That kind of fakey, like, is she going for a gun, or nope, that's not a Glock, that's her son.
It's real. I enjoyed the campaign a shit ton, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
things in that game where they gamified waterboarding. Like you get waterboarded,
No.
and it's like,
God.
move the stick to the left and breathe. Oh, you passed and you're dead. You forgot to move the stick and breathe. So like that's in there. There's a scene where you can basically decide if you want to be in the room or not when they're threatening a terrorist with his wife and kid next to him, and you can be the guy that pulls the trigger, or you can be the guy that's not in the room and just hear the noises. And that type of shit is crazy because you can just flat out like shoot the kid and the mom, and the guy will tell you what's going on, or you could just like threaten them or do other things. There's multiple ways to get through it, but it's like, it's fucked up, man. It's a weird game, especially a game the size
Have
of
you-
like Call of Duty.
Did you play? I mean, Call of Duty as a game series has always been kind of like part of the media arm of the greater military-industrial complex. But did you play Spec Ops: The Line? Play
Yeah,
that game.
yeah. It
back then?
shits all over Spec
Is-
Ops.
I was gonna say, so because Spec Ops is like, it seemed like they were trying to do the same thing, but it was like so heavy-handed.
It's so much
This
better.
is, you'd
Yeah.
say this is like more nuanced than
I mean,
that? Yeah, okay.
It's heavy-handed, but the whole game's a little heavy-handed. Like,
Well, Call of Duty's
Yeah.
never been all that subtle about these things.
it's a type of game where you look at that and you see developer interviews and they're like, no, this game is not political. And then you're like fighting the quote Kurds or saving the Kurds who is fighting the bad guys, aka the Russians. And you're like, come on, dude. Like, we watch the news, you fucks.
It was so close to reality of news right now.
Yes.
They had a fake country and fake
Yes.
name of the terrorist, stuff,
Yeah.
but they
It's
still had the
crazy.
Russians. They didn't change their name at all.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. They do that where they just
They're always bad.
they
It's
just
fine.
make up a something stan and are like, cool, we just need like a ethnic bad guy, so they're from Call of Duty stan. Go get them. Like,
Yeah.
we just made up this country so we'd have somebody to kill and we wouldn't blame anybody for real. Yeah, weird. It's such a weird like environment to make games in.
It's worth playing though. I had a lot of fun with it, but it's a very weird game. Also, it's like one of the best looking FPSs, and the gun noises in that game are astronomically above and beyond any other like FPS that tries to center around realism that I've ever heard. Some of the gunshots in there that you're hearing and like the different way that the gun animates, it's crazy. It's actually insane. And I would assume that like translates over to the multiplayer max, but you're not really necessarily focused on how the gun sounds. You're focused on killing the 6 people in front of you on the other team. So
yeah, it's funny. The multiplayer is multiplayer. I mean, it's fun. It's especially too since I just got my new computer. It was kind of fun to play, like and like super beast rig playing all that, and still getting shit on by people that are just drop shotting and doing things like that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
definitely, it's solid. But I want to play the single player. I wasn't aware that the single player was so. First of all, coming into this, I didn't look too much into COD Modern Warfare. I didn't know what they were doing. I thought they were just kind of doing like a remaster, but then also changing it and making it a little more original.
yeah. It's like
I
a
realized
full
that they were
reboot.
going through and making like a full reboot of all the campaign, like bringing in a new price and stuff. I told you before too. I watched like a little video, little Vidoc of finding the guy who plays Price. Apparently, he was somebody too who like grew up playing Call of Duty and playing that game.
Yeah.
And now he's Price. Like, so it was interesting watching that. But it seems like he does a really good job. So
He does,
now
yeah.
hearing from everybody else and just seeing little snippets too. I want to play it.
The
Even with
writing,
that dark stuff, that'll be interesting. You know,
yeah.
all
The writing's
tough situation
kind of
we're in.
rough, but like the actual
Yeah, I mean-
acting and all that stuff, the voice acting is like top notch, like 10 out of 10.
Well, that's what it is. If you have a good cast that can carry even some writing, you know, their
Yeah.
performances might be able to like make you gloss over that a little bit more.
There's one of the levels is the night vision levels are the best because for whatever reason that filter within a game makes it look real.
Yeah.
Super real.
Because like it looks like a game whenever you wear night vision goggles in itself with like the green hue over it. But one of the missions, Price like stays up is kind of like an Overwatch or a lookout, and he's just got a sniper rifle, and you're walking around with a silenced pistol in kind of the pitch black, and you have to shoot lights and stuff like that. But Price will be like target on your left, and you'll like go over there and target him, and if you take him out before him, Price gets like angry at you. He's like, "That was my target, you asshole," or like cheeky bastard, or that type of shit. So it's got he's a good character. He also like in the cutscenes, it looks ridiculous. He's each like the hair follicles
the
look so
beard,
good
I
that they
know.
look bad. If that makes like they're so defined. Like
Yeah.
my hair follicles are not defined in camera shots that way.
Yeah.
And then in game, it's like fucking perfect and like, yeah, it's
Yeah. I
ridiculous.
saw a lot of that stuff.
You ever-
Kind of one-to-ones of while they were mocapping. I'm like, holy fuck, his beard looks so good.
Yeah, it looks real crazy. What were we gonna say, Mac?
You ever turn your sharpness all the way up?
Oh yeah, is that what that looks
Yeah.
like?
Like,
I guess
in the
that's what
show,
that looks
like-
That's what it
It's-
is. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
like with a good camera, you can make a real image look that. But no one ever on a portrait, no one ever turns the sharpness up that far. Like that'd be a bad photo because of that exact thing you're describing. Like, why are my pores like a mile deep?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks weird.
yeah.
But it's good. It's good.
It was a modern warfare game. Was it like the first one that had the gunship sequence, the one where you're firing from like mid orbit or whatever, the black and white sequence where you're firing the big guns from above.
Oh, from the
and
AC
then there's the
130.
cuts
Yeah,
back
I
and
think
forth.
that's all Modern
Yeah.
Warfare. They kind of go that
Yeah.
route in the sense that it's like, all right, take control of this helicopter real quick, and then it like will zoom out of your character and zoom into this helicopter pilot where you go into the grayscale AC 130 section. Yeah. So that's
Yeah, it's interesting seeing them repeat that because the AC 130, the first time they ever did that, it was cool and impactful because of how different it was from the rest of the game and because it was this unique thing and it was like, cool, you're doing like an incredibly violent thing, but you're doing it from a significant distance and it barely seems like anything. Like you see a tiny little person running
Yep.
and you just click on them and then they're dead forever. And
Yeah.
You're like,
Just
okay, where are
spray.
the other little people to click on? Click, click, click,
There's-
dead. And it's all,
there's
you
a
don't
lot
even
of
hear, you hear
that.
the explosions just like barely far away, which I thought was really impactful because it's the only thing, but I worry that they'll like be like, yeah, that worked in this game. Let's use it 4 times in this
It's-
other game.
it's
Right? You
not
always
that-
worry that when they use those tricks again.
They redo the tricks, but they're like, all right, we're gonna redo this trick, and you're gonna do it for 10 seconds, and then you're gonna move on. You'll never see it
Right.
again.
So they're cut up into
Yeah, so it's-
smaller.
it's nice about that.
That makes sense.
They also do a lot of, and I think this is when some of the press coverage stuff started. There's a lot of like child soldier shit, like you're sneaking around in a house with a knife, like stabbing a fucking Russian guy multiple times, like 30 times, and then stabbing him in the neck, and yeah, it gets kind of ridiculous. It's like playing The Last of Us if The Last of Us was in a real world, to where you're just absolutely murdering people as a little child. So
Yeah.
it's weird. It's an interesting thing, but
Interesting. Yeah.
thinking about it after the fact, it's like, oh fuck, that did have some weird shit in it. That was the waterboarding
I'd love
sequence
to
is just
see-
awkward. It's just awkward.
I'd love to see credited and uncredited members of the military who are like conflict advisors or whatever. Oh, yeah. Like I'd love to see who in the credit looking for ranks in the credits would be something I would be really interested in. I wonder how many people from the like Navy or the Army worked on or the government.
They probably didn't have anyone from the government. They probably just outsourced them to like the third party, like Blackwater type people.
Right. Well, and I feel like if you work with the Army, they'll give you money, right? To be like, let us have a say, like with the Air Force and Captain Marvel, how they got some money from the Air Force, but the Air Force got to be like, no, you have to depict us slightly differently as a result of the fact that we gave you this money.
Yeah. Someone in Toja brings up the fact that some people in my chat when I was playing the campaign said that it was like triggering their PTSD of like being an actual
I was just
war.
gonna say, I'd be curious to see.
There's a lot of shit in there. It's like, fuck, like
veterans.
It's rough. Yeah, because it looks so real and like the way that the bullets sound and all the guns sound and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Zeke, are you all packed up? Are you good to go? Are you leaving to Denver Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm leaving on Tuesday. I'm tomorrow is like just a full day of getting the rest of everything. Like the bulk of it is done, but now it's like tomorrow is breaking down all my computer and like all of that shit. And,
the real move hasn't started, is what you're saying. The computer's the real move.
Monday's getting everything ready, and then Tuesday is taking it and putting it in the truck, and then driving.
Are you paying people to put your shit in the truck?
No.
Oh,
I don't have that much shit.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't accrue that much stuff. I don't think.
Is it the type of thing where, see, now I'm starting to think that on Tuesday you'd be like, fuck, we need a bigger truck. Or like,
no,
I don't have that much stuff.
I erred on the side of caution for the size of the truck. So I got like a bigger truck just in case.
Yeah, that's all smart.
But also like I'm taking down like 2 motorcycles as well. So putting that in the back. And also putting hauling a trailer with my truck behind. So
oh geez, okay. You got a lot. Yeah,
it's gonna be a whole ordeal.
Yeah. You're not driving by yourself, right? Do you have other people going with you, or is it just you?
Nah. It's without the U-Hauls like restrictor plates, because I think they have like a speed limit restriction.
Yeah.
Like put in there. Mm-hmm. It usually takes around 8 hours. So with the restriction, it might take around 9, but I've done that many times before. I mean, like traveling to Burning Man is like 15.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a drive. So, well, cool. Are you all good? Did you have all your final dinners yet, or is that still to come as well?
I've been checking off like friends off the list. Like I did one. I did a friend movie dinner thing last night, and the night before I did a different one, and that kind of stuff. And I come to realize like most of my friends I've made in the past 10 years are on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And the other ones, like I would say 90% of them don't live here anymore. Anyway,
yeah, so they've all moved on. That's cool.
Yeah.
That makes it easy. What about your final foods? Is there food that you can only get in Billings, Montana that you're worried about? Never have it again.
Not really, man. Not really.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're making a good choice.
Yeah, this is all. I'm asking you all the important questions here, and you're answering all the right ways. So I think this is a good thing, Zeke.
I mean, there is one like little like cafe that serves these pastries with like it's like Dutch sausage in them and stuff like that I won't be able to get there. It's like a mom and pop joint. But other than that, like I look forward to finding new places like that in Denver where I can.
Denver is really cool. I used to live there.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, you will like it. It's very much.
And I like the climate there.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're good, and they're not getting a bunch of snow already, right? That's not till like
they don't even get a lot of snow. It's all bullshit. I lived there for 2 years.
Max, I've seen all the TV shows and the movies. Okay, I know how much snow is there.
All bullshit. They barely get snow.
They don't get snow. It's all bullshit. Take that, Denver. Boom.
I'm serious.
It's not that cold, you fucks. There's not that much
snow in Chicago. 100%.
Yes, okay, that's true.
Yeah, duh. What? Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying everybody's thought of Colorado and Denver specifically is like, oh, it's so cold. It's going to be super, super snowy there. You better bring a coat. It's sunny most of the fucking time, all year. And they get like 3 to 5 inches of snow.
Max, where
If
did
it's
Denver touch
unpredicted-
you? All right, point on your body.
Yeah, right?
Where-
Like you sound upset at Denver,
sound
like
so
in a deep personal
disgruntled.
way. Are you
I'm
okay?
not mad at Denver. I'm mad at people's
Listening to you
perception
talk
of
about Denver is
Denver.
like listening to me talk about Indianapolis. Like it hurt you somehow?
First of
or?
all, nobody talks about Indianapolis because it's fucking
Whoa.
boring.
Whoa. Man, this is like the evil Max with eyeshadow is the evil Max. That's what's
It's
happening.
like Spock with a goatee.
Listen to my opinions of Denver and
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
exactly. Jesus.
I'm just saying, I'm speaking truth,
Okay.
pointedly.
Okay.
Fair.
All right. Fair enough.
Talk about Denver snow. They don't have it.
I mean, I'm sure the annual snowfall is probably higher than 0 in Denver. I would think.
Probably.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. What are you saying? You have to go up higher into the mountains to get the actual snow?
Yeah,
Is that-
go into the mountains or specific times. So, it doesn't stick around as a lot as people think, though, because it's so sunny. Like
Right.
they are, it is very well known that they have a lot of sunny days there. So it's hard for any snow to actually really stick around.
Okay.
And it doesn't stay super cold. It does get cold, but it's not the way that people think it is.
Gotcha.
In that regard.
Noted.
And Indianapolis sucks ass.
Agreed.
Fair enough. Can't argue that.
True.
Can't argue that. Well, have fun in Denver, regardless of what Max says. Zeke, you're doing the right thing. You're making a good call, even if it doesn't snow that much there. You know,
I'm in
just
favor of it.
if it's snowing there, just don't tell Max. Just don't let him know. He might get a little angry.
I won't.
Yeah.
No snow.
won't.
He's lying. He's lying.
Max, I'm just gonna get you a T-shirt that just says "Fuck you, Denver" on it, and we can do like a photo shoot. You can post it to the Denver, tweet at the Denver City of Commerce.
That's
see what they
Max's
say.
new
Yeah,
brand.
We'll make a whole thing out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his new clothing line is "Fuck you, Denver." Exactly.
fuck you, Denver.
Yeah.
Denver's fun. I miss Denver. It's
Dan,
also
wh-
apparently changed a lot since I lived there.
Well, yeah, it probably snows more. Dan, what are your thoughts on Denver?
I knew you were going to say that. As I was saying it, I'm like, don't give me this ammo. And then I did it.
Haven't thought about it much, honestly.
Okay. All right. No opinion on Denver. Dan remains the middleman. Anything else besides Outer Worlds, Dan? You've just been kind of focused on that the past 5 days.
Yeah, that's just been what I've been focusing on.
Cool.
Nothing too crazy.
Did you guys see any movies? I always get the quick Dan movie minute on Twitter.
Yes, I've seen a lot of movies. I saw.
I thought you were going to end there and just stare at the camera.
Yeah, that's a great statement. Yes, I have seen a lot of film.
I gotta
Thank
put
you.
A lot of movies.
I've seen Zombieland.
How
2.
was that?
Zombieland.
We spoke highly about it.
Yeah, Weed said it was great.
It's very funny. I think it's not as good as the first movie,
Okay.
but it's close. It's a good sequel. It's just like you take the world, just try to get more jokes out of it, and they did.
Okay.
And it was pretty funny.
All right.
And then I saw Gemini Man, and that was not as bad as the reviews suggest. It was okay.
Really?
Did you watch
Decent
it?
action
Okay,
film.
I heard that there were multiple versions of it. Did you watch it in 2D or 3D? And did you watch it at 24 or 60 FPS?
2D at regular 24 FPS.
Yeah, okay.
And
Which I
was just
understand
an-
is the best way of seeing it.
It was a decent action movie, seeing it that way. It was not bad.
Wait.
And then I saw the Maleficent sequel.
I'll follow up on that on my own.
Jeez.
I'll follow that up on my own. Go ahead, Dan.
I liked it.
Yeah? Aaron really likes the
Yeah, I
first
thought
one of those. The first
I
one
didn't even know it was a sequel. I just went and watched it. And luckily, the first movie is just like a retelling of the original fairy tale.
Yeah.
This is like a sequel to the fairy tale, so at least I wasn't like out of touch. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Nice.
It was kind of like Game of Thrones, but with kids for kids. Like
Huh.
one of the plot lines, without giving too much away, is trying to kill fairies, but when you kill a fairy, they just turn into a regular plant. So it's like, so we can have mass murder, but they're just plants and flowers. It's fine.
Hooray.
Sure.
awesome.
They're still
Yeah.
alive.
I guess that
Yeah.
makes sense. I guess that's a way to deliver the bad news for sure. Yeah, that's good. What's like the next big movie that's coming out? That's kind of nothing till Christmas,
Terminator.
right? Oh, it's
Yeah,
Terminator.
Oh, I thought that was already out.
Friday, Thursday.
Oh, okay.
There's something else coming out on the 31st too. Shit. I wanted to see it too, and now I can't remember what it was. It's Terminator, and there's another thing that weekend. I'll try to remember what it is.
Frozen 2.
There's another one. No. It's not Frozen 2. Jojo Rabbit. That's the other one.
Oh,
Jojo Rabbit is the
yeah.
other thing that's coming out on the weekend. Yeah.
That's probably gonna be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be fucking great.
Yeah. When does Frozen 2 come out though? For real? I think that's November sometime.
I think November, yeah.
Yeah.
I just
20th,
want to see
November
if
20th.
they can somehow.
Same day as Animal Crossing.
Oh, that's interesting. I just wonder if they can somehow make a better song than Let It Go. The best song to come from movies in recent 5-10 years. I don't know if
It's the I Can Show You the World of the modern era.
It really is. It really, yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. We'll see. Have they even
hard to
announced
follow
the
up.
new song? I don't know if they've even said what the new song is.
I don't. The trailer didn't show any singing at all, so I don't.
No.
It may go songless, but it's really hard to follow the first movie. I don't know.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I thought they had the song out, or maybe I thought ABC did the thing like we're gonna announce the new Frozen song on Good Morning America, but I guess that didn't happen yet. So synergy. Let's talk brand synergy. It's all the rage. It's all the rage these days.
Yep. When is Disney Plus coming out? When is that happening?
Oh
does
fuck!
that,
That's
start
November 5th,
officially?
I think.
There you go.
Doesn't the Mandalorian come out the 5th?
Binge that Mandalorian.
Wait.
Hell yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
very
12th,
early
the
November,
12th.
I think. Yeah.
The 5th is
that
Red
okay?
Dead on PC,
That's right.
and then the 8th is Death Stranding. Man, December
Right.
or
God, November's gonna be
packed.
it's gonna be busy.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of shit to do. Anyways, we'll deal with that when we hit November. Let's watch a recap. Let's see what happened. The recap that was made so long ago and not last minute or anything.
Not at all
today.
last minute.
Yeah, it wasn't last minute whatsoever.
Previously on Court of Swords. A bright flash of light heralds both the vanishing and re-arrival of our heroes, back from the Court of the Void mere moments after they left. They've returned to the former Monastery of the Sun, turned King of Black River's labor and re-education fortress, much to the chagrin of Mouthful of worm-ridden grave dirt. Their arrival interrupts her meeting with 10 Pillars of Gold, a well-connected secret functionary of the Court of Coins, here to determine if a peace can be brokered before war reaches the border of that august court. Gravedirt meets with the PCs and sends them to the barracks to rest, where they part ways with Mihari, whose goal it is to meet with his people in the mountains. The others struggle with some workers, and after Ramus converts one to his burgeoning faith, and Berg is reunited with the Gong Throng, though he's not yet earned his Gong Throng Thong, they finally get some rest, here in the real world once more. Amira's body is given over to Gravedirt for study, but Unnamed stays with the party. 10 Pillars of Gold meets with Berg and Ramus and invites them to stay in his guest suite in Gravedirt's private abode. Meanwhile, Maharib contests with both an ancient and powerful entity within the old sword he used to carry, and the will of the wicked edge of the void. Tired of arguing with his weapons, a weary Maharib disappears into the jungle, headed for the mountains.
That's right. I'm going to the mountains or something.
I just love that the only interactions that Maharib had with anyone in the last episode was fighting with his own weapons.
Yep, that's very
Which
Maharib
made me
way.
very happy.
Yeah.
So everybody has goals except for 10 Pillars of Gold. You have one slot open. I didn't know if you wanted to tell me your goal or you want to just send it to me, but either way is fine. If you want to be secret.
This one doesn't have to be secret.
Okay. What do you want your third goal to be?
My third goal will be broker a laying down of arms with Gravedirt / Necro King.
Okay. All right. Done and done. Okay, cool. Well, only half of my players are here, so let's start with Maharib, I guess.
I didn't realize Karen got up and left. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Everyone's gone.
So Maharib,
I'll be right back, Adam. I gotta go.
Ah, for fuck's sake. All right, Zeke. It's just you and me. You
I'll
take
just
out
smoke my
your ledger.
pipe over here.
It has some numbers on it.
Please go.
So Maharib, you were trucking out into the mountains, and I think probably you can more or less remember your way from here to the place where you fought the dragon, the gates into the caves that the Embers of Imix live in.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the closest kind of these people that you can make connections with. So I guess that's where you're heading, yeah? You're just gonna head for the mountains. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Let's have some survival checks from you.
All right. How many would you like?
Well, for now, I think we can probably. You've been there before. Traveling through the jungle. Do you have supplies on you? Like, do you have like food or water, or was the intent to just try to get that yourself while you were out?
I would assume that the rations in my pack have long since spoiled.
Yes,
and I didn't make a effort, at least as a player, to say that I found all that stuff. So we'll just say that I'm.
Yeah, you just pulled a Mihari and we're like, I'm leaving.
We're living on the land, Adam. We're getting back to the roots of it all.
So let's see. Now there are rules, and if somebody in chat remembers where these rules are, I think they're in the Dungeon Master's Guide. But there are rules for using survival to get a certain amount of like food and water, and basically taking like long journeys like this. And I just want to see if you make it, or I mean, you're not gonna like. I'm not gonna be like, well, you failed, you die of starvation.
Those are words you never want.
But I want to see if there's a point where you might have to turn back around, or like kind of how that goes. So let's see here. I figure it's gonna be a number of days for you to travel there, and I can't remember what I said last time, but I have a pretty good idea of the basic distance. So. I guess here's the question. Are you going slowly, taking your time, hunting for food? Are you, trying to go like relatively like stealthily, or are you going as fast as you possibly can to just try to get there, before, get there and back before your friends get into too much trouble? What kind of balance? Like, basically, are you leaning towards care, speed, or do you want to do somewhere in the middle?
I think he's leaning towards speed. Only because of the fact that, Mihari was challenged by his pact with the Void, whoever the powers that be is, the serpent or whatever, to get back and make sure Ramus is on the path and not in harm's way.
Yeah.
So that's probably in the back of his mind. Also, Amira's body is the opposite direction that I'm going, so he's probably trying to get back to that as well.
Okay. Cool.
So definitely speed.
Well, let's figure. Okay, so let's figure out. First of all figure out what the prevailing weather is like. So the next day, you set off into the jungle, and it is. Let's see. All right, I got a 10. Okay, so no unusual temperature.
Right. Something's extreme.
Yeah. And then precipitation. Let me just see if it's like raining.
Something's real extreme.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So yeah, I think when you first set out, there's a pretty big storm on the horizon. You can see it when you look up at the mountains. You can see clouds kind of rolling in, which in this area of the world and this time means probably monsoons. It's gonna mean it's not gonna get cold or whatever, but it's gonna be very, very windy and very, very rainy, and it's going to happen. Depending on how fast you go, it's gonna happen either before you get there, or like while you're there.
Okay.
Which might cut you off from coming home.
Yeah.
It's gonna make the mountains like muddy, and the path like you have to climb in the rain, right? So you set out and you have this dangerous journey ahead of you. You still want to push on in the same way now that you have some idea of the weather?
I mean, I'm from the people of the mountains, so not necessarily the land. So I'm trying to think of like how much hesitation I would have knowing that information and weighing that against the idea that I'm trying to get back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you don't have any special abilities that interact with.
Yeah, I'm not trying to use special abilities, more just like
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like, yeah, it's going to be it's gonna be rough going, but that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I think he would just push on to try to get to his end goal.
Okay, all right.
Even
so
knowing how hard
let's
it
see.
would be.
Let's see your foraging, how that goes. So you're a medium creature. You need a pound of food a day and a gallon of water a day. And if you succeed at this, at these rolls, then you'll be able to live off the land without any trouble. If not, you're gonna be missing out on one of these two things. Then we'll figure out if you get lost.
Okay.
So, if initially before you go, are you gonna take like a day to forage, or do you want to try to forage as you move?
Probably forage as I move, only to keep
Okay.
in the sense that I'm moving fast. Or with the idea of being
so
fast.
there's abundant food and water available, right? Like you're in a jungle. It's a lush environment. But you're moving quick. So make a survival check with disadvantage.
Okay. Do I have a number I need to beat or just a roll that
Yes,
determines
DC's 10.
Okay.
Yeah, DC is 10 on this one.
Well, there you go.
Okay. All right. So you're able to what's your wisdom modifier?
+4.
Okay, roll a d6 and add your wisdom modifier. Just the modifier itself.
Okay. 8.
Not like you're saving through anything. So for you, it would be -1.
Oh, well then, okay. So yeah,
Right,
3.
because it's d6. Yeah, so 3. Okay, so you can find. Okay, roll another d6. Same thing, same modifier. D6 -1.
0.
Okay, so this actually makes perfect sense. So you have no trouble finding food, right? You can find berries or like nuts or wild vegetables pretty easily. There's lots of food. You can hunt relatively easily, but clean water is a problem. You have a hard time because, and I think this is probably the influence of the Necromancer King's presence in this area, is that he seems to affect water supply first. So I think that maybe you stop to like try to get some fresh water, and it is not good. Like you can taste that it's bad. Now it'll start raining, so you'll be able to stop and like collect bits and pieces as you go.
Sure.
But it is going to be rough. You're going to arrive potentially pretty exhausted. So now we need to figure out if you can get there without getting lost. Now you're moving quickly, so roll a survival check. No advantage or disadvantage. The DC is going to be base of 15 because it's the jungle, but it's going to go up to 20 because you want to try to hoof it.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So DC 20.
So I need a 16 or higher. No, I messed
Hey, yeah, buddy. Okay, so you got your 18.
I didn't realize
so
I had
you
to be
do
a
not
fucking
get lost.
expert. Oh, I didn't get lost.
You did not get lost. No, that's great. 18 is good. The DC was the DC normally it'd be 20, but you've done you've done this before. Sorry, you've done this before, so I banged it down a level. Yeah, you're okay. So you're fine at 18.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sorry. So you're going fast, and it's easier because you've been this way before. I forgot to account for that before you rolled.
Okay.
So you arrive. You're going to arrive. It's going to take you. Let's see. Normally it would be a 2-day journey out there, but it's only going to be a full day because you're going to really bust ass getting out there. So while you're doing that, and you've during this day, you've quieted the Wicked Edge, so it doesn't harass you, and the dragon or whatever that you saw in the sword, that doesn't come back. You don't have another vision of it for the time being. But I'll get you to make one last roll.
Sure.
I'll get you to make one more. I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw. This one be DC 15.
Okay.
No modifiers or anything. And if you succeed, you arrive without getting exhausted as long as you get water in you right away. And if you fail, you show up badly dehydrated with 1 level of exhaustion.
Okay. 25.
Hot damn. So tough. So you are like, any too much longer and this would be bad for you if you didn't find clean water. But if you get there and you can get some water into you, you'll take care of you. You won't have exhaustion. So that's going to take you a full day, 1 day journey through the jungle. So while that's happening, I want to talk to the other party members. Now, do you guys want to do like downtime actions and kind of like say, okay, some time passes and this is what we get up to at the camp? Or do you have like specific sort of focused goals that you want to attend to? Because you kind of have your own, and we can do a mix of both too. Like you kind of have your own druthers about you to do whatever you like. So what does that look like? What do you guys think in terms of time scale?
Word.
Yeah, it's good, right?
No one says druthers.
I just did.
I just did. Where we left off was us going with 10 Pillars, right? To his.
Yeah, I mean, you're just hanging out in 10 Pillars of Gold's like room.
Right. Yeah.
Should we talk about what some of your options are for like I was thinking we could do, everybody gets a downtime action and then each of you could like frame up a scene if you want to have a conversation with someone or like there's a specific like focused thing you need to do. I think that might be a worthwhile thing. And then that can represent like Mihari going out there, and Mihari, we can talk about what you do while you're there and then come back.
I know what
Let me tell you what your options are for downtime and then we can decide. Let me see here. So let's take a look. Because these things, we haven't really had a chance to do them before, and you're essentially in like a safe environment for the time being. So your options during downtime, let's see. Downtime activities. Here we go. So you could see if you could find a magic item. You could try to trade for a magic item. See if anybody's bringing any magic stuff to the camp you could trade for. Or sell items that you have. Because even though technically private property is illegal, people still, black markets exist in these kinds of environments. So there's that. You could carouse if you just want to hang out with the gong throng and just get drunk and eat fucking rice all day. That is an option. So you party with your friends, make some contacts in the camp. You could craft. You could make something. So if you want to craft like a weapon or armor or like special piece of clothing and you have the ability to do so, you could do that. You could start researching how to craft a magic item if there's a magic item that you want to make. So that's an option. You could commit crimes, I guess, if you wanted to, because the Gong Throng seems to have some kind of access to like, they're a gang. They're literally a gang. So you can do that. Get in on their business, try to make yourself some money. You could gamble. It's another thing the Throng is into. Right, so you can go and spend some of that money on gambling. You could start a pit fighting ring. So that's something, secret pit fighting ring. You could just hang out. You relax. If you relax and you maintain at least a modest lifestyle while relaxing, you get advantage on saving throws to recover from any disease or poison. You can end effects that damage you and basically just give you a chance to like recover from any bad stuff that's going on, get treatment for anything. Ramus, you might want to perform religious services. That is an option. You can make an impression. You can earn favors from people, NPCs around you. You can research. Remember, this place is built on an enormous library, right? There's a library underneath the monastery somewhere that we haven't seen. So that's an option. If you have an item you want to do research on, if you want to learn more about what people know about the void, that kind of thing. Anyone who's capable can scribe spell scrolls, or you can train. You can train a tool, a language, or proficiency like that, or you can just work. I think that's what Gravedirt wants you to do. Gravedirt wants you to like lug stones, especially you, Bert, because you're so strong. So if you want to just like make some money and lift heavy things, that's an option for you. So if those things, if kind of montage sequencing those things sound like something that would be fun to do, we could do that. And then also I want to give you a chance to like, each of you would have a specific opportunity to pursue like a conversation or a goal or whatever during that time. What do you think? Should we take a downtime action, or do you have like very pressing stuff you need to do one after another while we're here? Both are valid options. What say you, Marians?
Well, I know what 10 Pillars would like to do during the downtime action. and judge us however you'd like. But I'd like to scope out the army, like what kind of military wing they have. See how ready they are for battle. What's their numbers looking like?
That would likely be research, right?
Okay.
But you're using your eyes instead of a library, and what you're researching is how put together is this place exactly? And we can talk about if you want to do that stealthily, right? Because you're a foreign diplomat, so they're not going to be like, there'll probably be some combination of like, watch me parade my soldiers in front of you to impress you, but also like we're hiding our secret weapons somewhere you can't see. So you might need to, there might need to be some subterfuge. So you can tell me about your approach for that.
Oh yeah, there's going to be like I'll go to where if I'm allowed to go to where the soldiers drink and like get them inebriated and start talking about stuff
we'll talk about approaches and stuff once everybody's sort of decided. So okay, and then Dan, it sounded like you had something that Ramus wanted to do.
Yes. I would like to try to find a material I need for one of my 8th level spells on the grounds, which is a sacred relic worth at least 1,000 gold of religious significance. So somewhere amongst the rubble.
This could be a place to maybe uncover something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to. I'm trying to search the rubble for something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So that might fall under like research. Or I guess you could carouse to like find, because you guys showed up pretty late. So we'll talk about your approach, right? And what downtime at best looks like. Okay, cool. And then Max, do you know what you want to do? Do you know what Berg is going to get up to? Did any of those activities sound like something you'd want to do?
All of them again? I know you said them, but I don't remember.
Let me see. Do I have a list? Buy an item, carouse, craft an item, crime, gambling, pit fighting, relaxing, religious service, research, scribing a spell scroll, selling a magic item, training, or work.
Honestly, he'd probably investigate more his newly acquired belt. I know you said he's like attuned to it, but he'd probably just spend time to himself looking at it.
The weapon, the belt itself can't tell you any more about it, right? You're as like one-on-one with the belt, but again, there's a library here, or you could ask Grave Dirt, or like there are options for doing research. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just wants to find more about it.
Okay, well let's just do that. We'll take some time, and then I think for Mihari, there will be, now that since he got there without getting lost, for him it'll be like downtime at the Embers and then meeting with them. Okay, cool. All right. Well, which of the three wants to go first? Where should we begin this part of the episode? Should we do like who wants to go? I think it doesn't matter to me. They'll all get kind of tied into one another too.
One of you two go.
Well, okay, Zeke, it sounded like you had a pretty good handle on what you want to do. Let's start with you. Okay, so your goal, you spend the downtime takes a week. So for a week while you were here as the guest of worm-ridden Grave Dirt, you are like going on tours of the, like tell me about the kinds of things that you would want to do, and I'll tell you what that might look like, and then we'll make some rolls and see what we can come up with.
Well, I'd like to talk to any soldiers I can. Get any sort of like information out of them that they, might not want to tell me, but get them to divulge it, hopefully without, raising any alarms or anything like that. I'd also just
casually asking questions and kind of like showing interest and stuff, right?
Well, yeah. And like one of the like things that I would think would work best is making statements about the army and then allowing them to correct me, kind of a thing.
Yeah, right. So it sounds like you're kind of like acting less aware or less knowledgeable than you are. Like you go in front of, say you watch a bunch of guys fighting with spears and be like, oh yes, I recognize Scorpion Strikes the Toad style. And they're like, actually, blessed guest, this is Eagle Talon style. And you're like, I fucking thought so. Makes a note.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So
that kind of shit.
Like conversational surreptitiousness, playing dumb, kind of like getting people to admit stuff rather than like skulking around in the archives and like spying on meetings and stuff. Okay.
Exactly. Like saying stuff like, when I was in the military all these years ago, this is how it worked when I was there. And then allowing them like, how are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me? I said something.
Right, allowing them to contradict you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to get you to do a couple of rolls. Let's do either persuasion or performance. Whichever you prefer. This is either like you put on your roll of 10 pillars of gold, incompetent, armchair militarist, or it's just like individual one-on-one charisma, right? Depends on your approach.
Right. I think persuasion will be my best to do that.
Yep.
All right. Let's make a roll. 11.
Ooh, okay. So it's above average for a normal person. You're +6. It wasn't a great roll. So I think from that, what you get is people are cagey about correcting you. You get a lot of like, that's an ignorant thing to say, like looks, but the approach, you get the impression that they have been instructed not to tell you specific stuff. I think they're not perfect, right? Because a lot of these guys are farmers that are being trained on new weapons and new styles. And so you kind of get that impression initially. But for your deeper research, the mechanism for this is did I give you starting gold? You should have some. You definitely came with items.
I do, yes.
So you should have.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you have some gold?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So for you, basically, you were researching. You've declared a topic of research, which is the army and its abilities, right? You're going to use the people around you kind of as your library, your human library, watching them, observing what they're up to. You spend a week doing this, walking around. So you need to spend 50 gold on bribes, gifts, whatever, other expenses. So you need to spend 50 gold to start it, and then beyond that initial, basically you're going to make a check. It's going to be an intelligence check with a +1 bonus for every 100 gold you spend on top of that 50, up to a maximum of 600 gold for a +6.
Oh, 100 gold per +1?
Per +1, yeah. How much gold do you like throw around? And then that bonus will add to the check, and the check results, and I'll tell you this before you roll so you can decide how much you want to spend. If you get a 6 to 10, you can ask me 1 question. If you get an 11 to 20, you can ask me 2. And if you miraculously get a 21 or better, you can ask me 3 things about the army in this camp.
Okay. I will spend 100 gold.
Okay.
You get a +2. And then
if it's just 100, it's only +1 because it's +1 per 100 beyond the initial 50. So 50 is to roll at nothing.
I thought I automatically got a +1.
No.
Oh, okay.
50 is just pay to play. That's the admission fee. And then every 100 you spend is between +1 and +6, or you can just spend none and roll flat intelligence bonus.
Cool. Then I will, and it's not a saving throw, right? It's just your intelligence bonus.
It's just, whatever your intelligence bonus is, plus additional stuff on top of that.
Okay. I will spend 100 to get +1, so it will be 1d20 plus 5.
Nice.
Total.
So you're guaranteed to learn at least one thing. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
There you go. You're guaranteed to learn one thing. So you can ask me one question. It doesn't have to be a yes or no question. It can be like, try not to nest sub clauses, but you can ask me one thing about the current army that is stationed here at this monastery from your observations. Or you could ask me something you might like theoretically be able to extrapolate. Like, if the King of Black Rivers has a dozen of these fortresses scattered throughout the Court of Swords, what would that mean for whatever, right? So you can, and if you want to ask that now, you can, or we can keep rotating through and we can come back to you if you want to think on it.
I guess I would like to know the overall like morale, confidence that they're going to win, like from the soldiers themselves, like from like the army itself, from the people in the army.
Yeah.
How confident are they that they're going to win?
Okay, sure. So the morale, and I'll flavor this through what you would learn, what you would know. So morale is extremely high, right? Despite the fact that, we're throwing around words like re-education and forced labor camp. These people are downtrodden peasants. The Court of Swords has never treated its peasants all that well. They get worked way harder for less. The Court of Swords is kind of backwards when it comes to how people get treated. They don't get free education. Basically, the Court of Swords was like, let's just keep them in the field unless they want to join the army, in which case we'll give them swords. A lot of these people are former soldiers or people who used to be, they're turncoats, basically. You used to work for the Court of Swords and was like, we didn't get enough money. And they, like, you hear all these stories about, like, people who were like, I used to be a guard and I worked in the army. And after we lost 3 battles in a row, I was like, I'm on the wrong side. So I quit and I turned coat on on the Court of Swords. Their morale is very, very high. They're not very well trained. But they believe fervently that they are part of a much greater wave that is beginning in the Court of Swords and will wash over the world. That eventually all of these former strictures, all of heaven's chains will be broken and they will rise up and take over the world. It is an inevitable spread, and that is what they believe. From what you can see, that belief seems confused, though. The Court of Swords has the most skilled army of anyone in the world, and they're very swiftly collapsing. So there's something missing. You feel a piece missing where you're like, they're succeeding, but they shouldn't, and they know that they should because they have, but like, what's in the middle? What is they have a secret weapon. They have something going on that's like allowed them to get this far, because a bunch of peasants with spears, that's not going to do a damn thing, right? Standing army of the Court of Coins could just turn them aside, but something else is going on. There is a secret power at play here. So that is what you spend your downtime researching.
The worm works in mysterious ways.
That's right. Okay. Well, and that's the thing is, like, there are rumors and stuff in the Court of Coins that, like, the reason why they can get by with peasant armies is that every peasant is effectively 2 soldiers. They're a living soldier and then they're a dead soldier, right? And that the King of Black Rivers basically has twice the army anyone thinks that he possibly could. So that is a thing. Cool. Okay. So Berg, I think Where would you go? You want to research your belt. I think if you want to, you can research your belt or your hammer or both. If you want to look into like the vestments of Emperor Fey as your thing, or Emperor Fey as a person or whatever. Yeah, it's going to use the same mechanics. Basically.
Yeah, probably both. He would probably just start with finding something about Emperor Fey to see, if there are mentions of his, like relics from his time and whatnot.
Okay, so. Where do you go looking for that, right? You know that you probably know from Ramus talking about it in his past or from being in other sun temples that the Temple of the Sun probably has a library somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you want to try to go there?
Try to find the library, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so I have a scene before you do that, because I think there is something you need to do if you want to use the library first. So you go to, where do you... I mean, who do you ask to find out where the library is? Does Ramus tell you, or?
Yeah, probably Ramus.
Because Ramus lived here, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ramus, the library of this monastery, when Berg comes to ask you about it, I think that it would likely fall under the Hall of Worship. Oh no, Burned Out Library. There it is. So there's book storage under the school. There's a damaged library attached to the school, but that all the actual books are stored underground. So they're safe from weather and flooding and stuff. They're in like a vault basically under the library. Do you take Berg there to show it to him, or do you just point and be like, it's under that building.
I think I take Berg there because
Yeah.
I know that within the library, there's a section that I was never able to go in that was held in a lock and key that only like the highest priest could go inside of. And I want Berg to smash the lock for me on that.
Nice. Okay. All right. So the two of you go to the burned out library. Now on the surface, the doors have been smashed in. The tile, the big mosaic in front of like the sun as metaphorical illuminator of darkness, right? The sun as knowledge bringer. That tile, that beautiful set of tiles, which you yourself have on hands and knees, scrubbed with a brush many times in your young life, is ruined. It is chipped. It is stained. The grout in between every tile is stained with blood. The desk, the librarian's desk, has been tipped over and its surface shattered. It looks like marauders poured through this upper part of the library. And it might to a person less familiar with the library, it might break your heart to know that like books had been burned and lost, but you know that the good shit is down below. And I think that when you go to, because there's nobody in here, nobody's like digging through it. It's just for now, just a pile of rubble. And as you're digging through, you go to find the entrance to the catacombs below, and you see that it has been sealed shut. So the door leading down into the sub basement is closed, and then there's a wax seal on the door. Like you'd have to cut the wax to open the door. And on this seal, it's green wax, big like fist-sized lump of it that's been pressed flat. On the seal is a worm eating its own tail, big segmented worm biting its own tail. And in the center, there is a laughing skull with long, like human hair. And that seal is placed on the door.
Looks like they locked it, Berg. I don't recognize this seal, but it could be a trap. I don't trust it.
Well, there was the one time I touched a door and had a rock for an arm for a while.
Well, let me just make sure, and I cast Detect Magic really quickly, just to see if there's any enchantment on the door.
There is, yeah. There is like warding magic on the door. I think the school would be abjuration. I think is the correct school. But that's it's a ward. I meant to keep away anybody who attempts to break it.
It's definitely warded or trapped.
You have dispel magic, Ramus?
Yes, I think that's the next thing I go to is, all right, stand back, Berg. I don't know what's going to happen. And I reach out and cast dispel magic on the door.
So as you start to begin your prayer, you're interrupted. You hear someone say, "Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you." From behind you.
Who's there? Lurking in the shadows like a...
So you turn around and you see there's an old man. He's probably like, I don't know, 80. Old man, super skinny, long, scraggly white. It's normally would be white, but he's like pretty dirty, and so his beard is all kind of that ivory color. And it's like more yellow around his mouth and then gets whiter towards the end of the beard. He's got a pipe sticking out of his mouth, and when he sees you, he smiles, and he's got maybe 2 teeth, maybe 3 if you count like one of his molars. Totally bald on top. Right, long hair from the sides out, and like big whiskery mustache, and he's almost naked. He's wearing just a loincloth. And you turn around, and he's like, "They specifically said not to fuck with that door, and here you two are, with your pants around your ankles, ready to do that very thing. Good thing I was here to warn you."
What does he mean, my pants are on?
It's an expression. Don't worry about it.
Why would he say that?
if you ever have your pants around your ankles, it's really hard to walk, You ever have to do the shuffle when you're out of toilet paper?
I just take my pants off.
So like watching a ping pong game, the old man is just back and forth between the two of you. And then he looks at you and points at Berg and he says, "Your boyfriend's a little slow. What are you two roustabouts doing back here anyway?"
Well, first, who are you? What are you doing here too?
And he looks at you and kind of squints. "I didn't want to work. It's hot out there and I'm old. My balls were sweaty. So I came inside. Into the shade." Gestures around.
Clever man.
He nods.
People wouldn't check here for you.
Yeah, they're not big on reading around here, as you can see. He picks up like the spine of a book and all the pages just fall out, all rotten and burnt, and shakes it. But if you're digging around here looking for the dirty stuff, well, you're too late. All got the first batch. You came digging through here. More pornography than you'd think for a monastery.
Mm-hmm. Those are actually wonderful depictions of religious figures throughout history, sir. Sure, they may not have clothing. That doesn't make them pornographic.
When you're as old as I am, you stop being so picky. Ancient, religious butt, still butt, my boy.
I cannot argue with that logic, sir.
Curtsies a little. Think there's something good down there? That why you two are back here? Looking to get yourselves in trouble?
We're just curious what's back there. Usually, in my experience, if someone locks something away, and there must be something good behind the lock.
Well, story about that. You two, you haven't been here very long, but... Well, I used to live in a village just over that way. No village anymore. Yeah, they got what's coming to them. But, I came here after all the unpleasantness. And, I saw a bit of what happened at the end of everything, as they were rushing in and knocking everybody over. The priests, the last holdouts, they shut the door to the sun tower, but it's sort of pointless because Gravedirt can't go in there on account of it still being holy ground and everything, working on that one. But the rest of the priests, they fled into the basement of the library, thinking, safe place, hide underground, lock the doors, no problem. This is the thing. And he leans in all conspiratorially and he smells like sardines. And he says, they were thinking two-dimensionally. He gestures like, they weren't thinking three-dimensionally. Huh? Sure. We can't get through the door. But Gravedirt sent those ghosts of hers right straight down through the floor. Sealed him in. He shrugs. So, whatever's down there, I gotta assume it includes some dead priests. And in my experience, priests don't die easy. It's the ones that act like they have it all figured out that always end up as ghosts. My second ex-wife, she was a terrible woman, but she was a worse ghost, I tell you. Haunted me for 5 years. It's a real tricky thing to have sex with your new wife when your old wife's ghost won't leave you alone. I remember I was halfway through, and he like, unless you interrupt him, he just tells you long stories about inappropriate things.
Famous.
I think I'm just tuning him out and listening to Berg.
Why is he still talking? He's so loud.
Well, you might have a point.
And like in between sentences in the background, you hear things like, and that's when she said, "That's not my hand on your rump, you old fool." Or like he just keeps telling, and he doesn't even notice you're not listening to him anymore.
There might be creatures down there, Berg. If I unseal this lock, I don't know what we'll find.
Oh no. Spooky ghosts.
You'll change your tone, young man, when you see what these things can do to a body. They can go inside you and make you do things you would never want.
I'm sure horrible things could happen to me. That would be new, huh?
Yes. You don't care. Life is hard. I'm Berg. Everything's bad. I know.
It's a good impression.
Well,
It's a nice start.
Well, I do have a gift for you, Berg. Meaning to give it to you for a long time, but I'm always forgetting. Here, I hand you a ring, and it has a water symbol on it.
It squints at you.
If you wear that, you can breathe underwater.
really?
Mihari found it in a fountain a long time ago. I want you to have it.
Your suspicion is so good. Like, really? Because you just, like, I imagine Burke thinking ahead to being like, all right, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to try to breathe underwater. And then Ramus is going to be like, ha, you fool. Enjoy your lungful of water.
I don't think in the total time they've ever been together that he has just randomly given him a gift.
Mm-hmm.
What does the ring really do?
It lets you
like
breathe.
Trick.
It lets you breathe underwater. I don't need it. I have this necklace. It does the same thing, but better. You can have this. I don't need it anymore.
Or like,
I bequeath you my garbage.
slowly grabs it,
Yep.
looks at Ramus again, puts it on.
Well, there's no water here.
It's a ring of water breathing. If you want to put it on your sheet, I've had it for a while.
Yeah, if you have the space to attune to it, I think that you do, because you have two magic items attuned right now.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, so you have one more you can attune. That's cool.
Cool.
I have a Game Boy Color now. Here's my Game Boy.
Yeah.
That's a perfect analogy. Yeah. I don't need this anymore. I got a Game Gear, baby.
I'm still sad about that. Everyone had a color and I had a fucking brick old one.
You know, Berg, it's a real shame because we kept the really, really good porn down there. Only this door is standing in our way.
And you say that loud enough for the old man to hear you?
Yeah.
So you look over and he's
none on none.
He's got one nice. He's got one leg up on a desk and he has a stool in front of his crotch and he has both hands on the stool and he's miming slamming his crotch into the stool and he looks over you and he's like, and then she turned me over like, and he looks over, you weren't even listening to me. And he throws the stool aside and he walks over and he's like, now, what was that about nuns?
Oh, the lovers had us keep some really, really raunchy stuff in that basement down there.
And he steeples his fingers like, "Oh, I always had a thing for nuns. You could call it a bad habit."
Good one.
And he looks at the door and he says,
God.
"How do you know all the good stuff's down there? Is that why the priests all ran downstairs? You know, one more time before their impending doom?"
What better way to go than when you're coming, right?
And he's just like, this sounds great. Well, when you boys get down there and kill all the ghosts and you pillage the place, make sure you bring something back for me.
Fine, sir. If there's any left. This one here, he's an animal.
I like the idea that pornography is somehow like a limited use item, that like it's like a potion, like, oh, I've already read this dirty scroll work, and you just throw it aside. Like, this will never arouse me again. It's used up. So do you want to try to convince the old man to like get in on the height? It sounds to me like you're trying to trick him into opening the door for you.
Yeah, I'd kind of want him to open the door or touch it or something.
Yeah, sure.
What I'm
Okay,
trying to get
make a persuasion check. 23. So when you say like, well, if there's anything left of it after Berg gets a hold of it, he steps in front of you, Berg, between you and the door, and he says, nope. I was here first. I get first dibs. Somebody give me a knife. And he looks at the two of you, like putting his little bony hand out.
Here you go. I hand him a regular dagger I've had for a long time.
Okay. Yeah. So he takes it and kind of like turns it over, looks at his reflection, grins at himself, and he says, all right, here we go. And he walks over to the wax seal, and he leans in and he takes a look and he says, well, looks like only this wax is holding the door shut. I've got this. And he takes the knife, he puts it at the top of the seal, like in the seam of the door, and with one quick motion, pulls the knife down, cutting the seal. And as soon as he finishes cutting through the seal, his heart stops and he dies. So he cuts the seal and he turns around and he's like, here we go. And he like turns and looks at you like, help. Like he's having a heart attack. He grabs at his chest and he slumps against the wall, slides to the floor, looks up at you, and dies. Just falls over dead.
At least it's quiet now.
This is true. I walk up to his body and just I'm observing it closely to make sure that he is not turning undead or if his body's like convulsing or anything.
No, he's just lying there dead.
All right, well that's one problem solved, Berg. Shall we enter the forbidden
door's open.
section?
Okay, yeah. So you want to head down into the basement library? Okay. Yep. So we stay upstairs as the two of you open the door and the two of you descend down. We see you like go down into the darkness beyond through the door, and we stay here lingering on the body for a minute, and just long enough to make you wonder like why the shot is still sitting on the body. There's a slight twitch, like his elbows and his knees twitch, and then his neck twitches, and his whole body twitches a couple of times, and he lets out a long rattling like. And as he does, a faint mist emerges from his open mouth, a faint greenish mist, and the mist congeals into the same shape as the old man, right? We see him in this semi-transparent, ghostly form, and he looks around, his eyes glowing green, and he looks down at the body, and he says, damn, I still look good. Now let's go see what those boys found in the basement. And it floats down through the door without opening it. Just passes through.
I knew you were gonna do that. I was literally typing that. I'm like, shit, he's gonna haunt us.
Yeah, old ghost perv. He's totally gonna haunt you. Yep. That's how it goes around here. All right, so the two of you descend down into the library. Meanwhile, Maharib, you have spent an entire day trekking through the woods, get to the edge of the jungle, and begin climbing up the mountain. Right, lots of wind, howling rain. Lots of places where we see you having to like climb up the side of a rock face and then pieces of it collapsing. There are mudslides. It is nightmare weather for climbing up a mountain. But at the end of the day, and I guess you can see in the dark now, right? So you have dark vision. So we just see your shape, a dark blob against the much darker landscape, as you climb up over some rocks and find yourself staring across the plateau that leads to the entrance of the Fortress of the Embers of Imix. You have found your way back to their little convent or whatever that they lived in. You remember, because it's been a really long time, because I've had a chance to look at the notes. So you made contact with them. You basically you defeated you finished their test. You are friendly with these guys. They'll recognize you when you come back. Their leader is a Fire Genasi named Awut. Remember him? He's like a druid fighter kind of guy. There are some other flame disciples there. And for now, I believe the last thing you said to the Embers was wait for our sign. Prepare yourselves, we'll be back, right? I think you readied them for this. So while they're not they have their own priorities and their own loyalties and stuff, they see you as a friend, and they know that you're kind of an ally of theirs. So when you arrive, how is this Maharib just being are you just tired and you kind of come up to the door and just pull it open and go inside, or is this more you're exhausted and you kind of collapse at the front door? Give me a little an impression of what Maharib looks like. What do they see when you come to their base?
Let me ask you a question first. Being that I don't remember Bahath, do I remember the encounter here that focused around Bahath? Do I remember anything about that on why I was sent here?
I think you remember having to prove...
That's going to shape how this all goes in my mind.
Yes. Yeah. You remember having to prove something to them.
And I remember these
doing
people
it well.
Verbatim.
You have a sense of pride. Yep. Yeah, you remember them. It's for you, the problems aren't so much straight up remembering or not remembering. It's being severed from the emotional context of the things that you remember. So it would be imagine in real life, a person you were really close to, and maybe you were somebody you were dating, you broke up, and you meet them again, and you remember them. You're oh, you're that person that I lived with and I was in a relationship with, and we had stuff that we did together, but I don't feel anything about that. You have no emotional context for it. So it might be at the time, this person broke your heart and you were so upset, but now you're just oh, I know you. You are familiar to me. So I think that's the thing. You remember a fight. You remember winning that fight. You have this vague sense of being proud of that. These people are useful, and you remember the details of who they are and what they're up to, but you don't have any deep-seated emotional connection with them anymore.
Okay. Then that's probably what happens. I reach the summit of this mountain, cliff face, whatever. And once I understand the area and where I'm at, maybe that, you hear the noises of the fight that happened however long ago that was, months, I guess, in Maharib's or weeks in Maharib's.
Certainly a lot longer for you.
Yeah. And maybe he sees the cage or something like that on the ground.
Yeah, we see the burnt altar and the twisted metal of the cage, because they haven't touched it. And I think as you walk up, this is a cool effect. I think that as you walk up, the twisted sculpture that used to be a cage, right? It's all peeled open at the top, and there's that hole in the bottom and stuff. Despite being cold iron, metal, the rain where it hits it is hissing as if it were hot. It's the rain is hitting it and immediately, so there's this steam coming off of it in the dark as you approach. You can just kind of barely make it out because of your dark vision. There's a cloud of steam rising off of the forever heated cage where you fought the dragon.
Okay. Then I'm picturing me walking up to the doors as if I'm Aragorn, like opening up the doors in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That
Cool.
whole
So these
scene.
are huge stone doors with like brass rings on the front of them. And yeah, you could just reach out and grab both rings and just pull it open.
Yeah.
And that would definitely let everyone inside know you were here.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I have no emotional attachment. I don't know or remember the customs around all this. So yeah, I'm here to talk to people that I'm thinking are going to know about stuff.
Yeah, inside there are guards. There's a small group of them who leap to their feet when you approach. They're wearing, I think these folks wear predominantly like hide or like they have metallurgy skills, but they don't have access to like raw ore or anything. So probably they're wearing leather armor, and they like leap to their feet when they see you. One of them doesn't recognize you, and he like grabs a spear and points it at you, and then you come into the pool of firelight, and they see you, and the one with the spear lowers it and turns, and in I guess their religious language would be whatever the fire version of primordial is, but they would still speak common to another. So the one that had the spear turns and he says to another one, he's like, "It's Mihari, go get out." And then a third one like runs off, like, "Yep," head dashes off. The other two, I think the other one, the one that didn't point the spear at you, she steps forward and she puts a hand out to you, and she says in common. Actually, she'd say this. It would be a greeting in Ignan first, which I don't think you speak. Do you speak primordial?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I do not.
All right. Okay, so she says something,
Camera
but
just died,
it's
by the
like,
way. I don't know what happened there.
oh, yeah, it did. Weird. Okay, fun. So, yeah.
Sorry,
so
I cast
she,
magical darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, can you remove darkness?
Yeah, that's weird.
please?
I don't know
Thank
what's
you.
going on.
Oh, the battery's exhausted.
Oh, good. It just means the cable that I'm using to power it seems to have failed. That's fine.
Nice.
I can fix it on the break.
Okay.
So she comes up and she puts a hand out to you to meet you like as an equal, right? She says this greeting, puts a hand out, takes your wrist, if you offer it.
Yes. Well, it's one of those things where I'm reacting to how they're greeting me, and I'm not gonna like I'm gonna basically try to fit in, but all of this is still foreign to me.
Okay. All right. So she shakes your, like, grasps your arm, shakes your hand, and I'm gonna make an insight check for her to see if she notices.
recognizes,
She doesn't know
yeah.
you very well, but let's see if she notices you're being weird. What do you think the DC is on this?
I think. I mean, I look different. My skin is noticeably darker. So if she's ever seen me, before, I'd say it's like pretty low, probably like 12. Yeah.
Okay. So she makes a face like something's off. She doesn't know exactly what it is, and she doesn't say it, but she gives you a look like something's different. You see her recognize that.
Okay. I'm fine with her noticing that. It's not something I try to hide or can hide. Like my skin is a different color.
Yeah. So she doesn't say anything, but when Aout arrives, I think he probably will. So you see him. He was sleeping because it's the middle of the night, so he's just pulled on like a robe. He's a Fire Genasi. He's not as tall as you. He's quite broad at the shoulders, very well muscled. He's arranged since the last time you saw him. He's like changed his hair. He's cut it short, but it's in like dreadlocks now. And he's got it all kind of like tied up for sleep. He has that kind of like dusky, like brass colored skin, and the faintly glowing red eyes. And he didn't bring a weapon or anything like that. He just like came as soon as he heard. He's with the other guy, this guy that ran off to get you, and the two of them come up, and he sees you, and he's just in like his bare feet. He comes running over, and there's wind howling behind you as they shut the door, and there are like little pools of water kind of around. And I think when he steps up to embrace you, which he does, he steps into a puddle of water from like dripping off of your cloak, and there's that same kind of hissing sound because his skin is like quite warm. And so he steps up and he looks at you like he's seeing a friend he hasn't seen in a long time, and he goes to like put his arms around you. Do you kind of just like stand still, or do you try to return that? It's clear that this person has like positive feelings about your relationship, but you don't feel any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I try to reciprocate just as I did with the guard prior, but it definitely is. It seems like something's off. Like it's
okay.
I feel uncomfortable
he can
about this
tell.
situation. Yeah, 100%. Without even a roll.
He can tell. He puts his arms around you. He like clasps you tight to him. You can feel your clothes start to dry, like in proximity to his body, and he like slaps you on the back, and then he steps back and he looks at you, looks you in the face, and he says, Mihari, what's wrong? He looks you up and down. You don't look well.
There are a lot of people standing around staring at this conversation.
Only the guards. Yeah, only the guards. So there's three kind of underlings.
Okay, then I'll still respond the same way. Do you have someplace we can speak privately? He kind of stares at the two guards.
He makes a worried face. Is something the matter? Should I be worried? Should I awaken the warriors? What's going on, Mihari?
We should speak behind closed doors. I am fine.
He looks at one of his guards. You catch this whole exchange. His eyes flick over to one of his guards. They make eye contact. The guard looks down at your I guess at your back.
Yeah.
And then you see Aout look at the axe. And his lip curls back slightly and he says, "What's that?"
It's one of the things I wish to talk to you about. I am not hostile towards you, friend. I know I might seem it, and I know I look different. It's one of the things I wish to tell you about, but they are not for... Yeah, so...
Make a persuasion check for me.
Oh, boy. All right, -2 on these. These checks always go flawlessly. -1.
Oh, no. Okay, so
might as
here
well
we go.
Fucking have my sword drawn, ready to attack.
You can tell me how Bilbo Baggins this moment is. He looks at the axe and he looks at you and he says, "I have a bad feeling and I don't think I can let you inside with that." And he like reaches for it, like, "Give it to me. I'll have one of the shamans look at it and then you and I can speak." And he's slowly like reaching for it. Not like to take it from me, but to indicate like you should give it to me. Both hands out, palms up, like, "Please give this to me."
Yeah, I step back like maybe enough to put distance between the two of us, and you do not want to handle this weapon. I can assure you of that.
Unbidden, a vision of, and it's just like in The Shining, where there's that brief flash of like the disembodied, like or the disemboweled like corpses. You see this exact scene, but all the guards are dead. Their limbs are severed. Aout's head is on like lying on the ground, staring up at you, and it's just this brief flash of blood and gore, and it overlays and then comes back, and you see how easy it would be to just kill all of them.
Right.
And yeah, you take the step back, and Aout like looks at your face concerned.
I'll put my two hands out as if like I put my two hands out like this, and if you have bindings, please, I do not wish you harm, but you will be causing great harm to yourself if you touch this weapon.
He shakes his head. His dreadlocks gonna rattle around a little. There's some like amber beads hanging from them. You hear them clicking. He shakes his head and he says, no. You, whatever has changed, you come before us an ally. You face the dragon. We have no reason to. It's just that weapon. There's something malevolent about it. But if you say you are not here to do us harm, would you allow me to have a shaman take a look at you before I bring you inside? I don't mean to be indelicate, Mihari, but I have to protect my people.
It is one of the very reasons I have come here. So, by all means.
He turns to one of his guards. Probably the guard that just finished trying to get him. He looks at one of his guards and he snaps and he says, Go and get us one of the shamans. And then they make a look like, but the shamans are asleep, sir. It's like, I don't care. Go wake them up. And the guard's like, okay, and like runs back into the caves to go and wake up a shaman or two to come and take a look at you. So while that's happening, while you're waiting, you're standing in the hallway. There is this kind of awkward elevator moment, right?
Right.
Where you kind
when
of just look
the
at
guard,
each other and you're standing in a puddle.
Right. When the guard walks away, I'll draw Bahath. I don't touch the weapon. It's fully wrapped in whatever.
Yeah.
And I present it to him, not as like blade first, but with me holding it with both arms, kind of staring at the axe, looking a little bit lost. And
so you hold out the sword, and he looks at it, and he looks at you confused, like, what are you doing? He doesn't say anything. He waits for you to explain.
Yeah. And I look at the weapon, kind of have a awkward pause, and look up at him. Do you know what this weapon is? I was told I had a connection to it.
Well, what do you mean you were told? That's your sword. Bahath. You used it to face... You faced the fire. What do you mean you were told?
I think that like clues the memory a little bit, and I turn back around and maybe see the fight in the cage.
Yeah.
And turn back, and time has passed. I've been gone for a very long time. It may not seem it to you, but it is best if we speak once I have been with the shaman.
He's nodding slowly while he listens to you, like he's clearly paying attention, and he says, I don't understand your words, but I can see the truth of them in your eyes. You're worrying me, Mihari, but I'm sure that the shamans will pray to the fire for guidance, and Imix will help us understand what's happened. You're safe here. You're among friends. And you notice while he's talking that you have an eavesdropper. He hasn't noticed yet, and the guards don't seem to have either. But you can see their shadow. There's a shadow from around the corner, so they have a light source behind them, but they're around the corner from you, so you see a shadow extending out into the hall. Someone is around the corner listening.
Yeah. I don't really have... Okay. Then maybe I'm just staring at the corner, and at normal volume I say to him, do you have enemies here? Have you recruited recently? Are the forces growing?
We've put the word out. Things have been strange. You haven't been gone long, at least for me, but the shamans are having visions. A great black snake in the jungles to the north. A colossus wandering the desert. They seem to think that momentum has begun, that the awakening is coming. These kinds of prophecies, if you didn't come before us with your sword and that message, I wouldn't have believed it myself, but they say that there was a fire in the valley northeast of here. All the shamans felt it. Something returning. I don't understand it myself, but everyone's connection to the Fire Lord is stronger than it was before. Something has changed, and I think it will keep changing. Whatever has happened is happening, like a flood or a rainstorm.
Is this not good news?
It is, but there's more than one kind of fire, Maharib. Sometimes, as farmers do, civilized men, we can use fire to burn away that which has no purpose anymore. With skill, fire can tend as well as water does, help grow as much as earth, but when it is uncontrolled, Imix has a tendency to burn even those who worship at his altar. We know this. This is a given of life under the Fire Lord, but these are delicate times and must be tended to carefully. The signs are... And when he to finish that sentence, you hear a woman's voice say, complicated. And you both turn and look, and you see there's a woman. And I think, I'm going to say just purely from things like lighting, makeup, casting, and like costuming, you get to decide, Maharib, personally in universe, whether or not you think that this person is hot, but she is definitely presented as being sexy. Like she's wearing, she's wearing she's dressed up like a sexy fire priestess. She would be, you'd hire a very conventionally attractive actress to play her, and then CG her into being a Genasi. And so you look up, and it's clearly she's a shaman. She has a mask, but she's not wearing it. So she has it probably like on like around her neck, just kind of hanging in front of her. And the face is like a scary, snarling face with teeth and then like fire, right? It's like a ceremonial mask of Imix. She's wearing, honestly, like not that much, despite the fact that it's like nighttime and it's cold in this cave, because she is like radiating heat. You can see there are like mirage wave lines kind of coming off of her, and she has this long, beautiful like cascade of faintly glowing reddish orange hair, and the longer you look at it, the more the pattern of color seems to shift. Yeah, she's literally hot. But you see her, she finishes the sentence, and then she smiles, and like somehow the difference between her making a serious face and her smiling is like the storm ending and the sun coming out. Like you feel it. All the guards are just staring at her, and even Awut has given her kind of like he's suddenly quiet and kind of in awe, and she smiles and she says, Awut says you need some looking to. Come with me, Maharib. And she gestures like, let's go to my vision cave and we'll have a conversation.
Okay. I nod and turn back to Awut and nod as well, and put Bahath back on my back and start walking after.
Okay. All right. So the three of you, Awut, and this mysterious shaman, you head into the caves to have yourself examined, and I think probably that's a good place to take a break.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do just that. We'll get
fix my camera.
we'll get Adam's cameras fixed up, and we'll be right back with more Court of Swords right after this. Don't go nowhere. We'll see you guys in just about 5 minutes.